Battlefield might have just done it. If you've been living under a rock lately, you probably don't know that Battlefield 6 has been absolutely cooking. Last week, a bunch of content creators, including myself, got flown out to playtest Battlefield 6 early. Now, just for clarification, that was a sponsored segment. But this video is not sponsored whatsoever. I'm not required to say anything good about the game. Right now, this video is strictly my opinions and what I thought about the game, and also what that means for Warzone going forward. So let's get right into it. Was Battlefield 6 good? And what about this BR that everybody's talking about? I'm going to tell you flat out. I used to play Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 back in the day, and this game, Battlefield 6, reminds me a lot of Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, which I think was their intention. I've been getting a lot of questions about this game. Is it going to be the Call of Duty killer? Is it going to be the Warzone killer? Is this finally going to put an end to Activision? I personally don't think so, but not for the reasons that you guys might suspect. Let me just start off by saying that Battlefield is Battlefield and Call of Duty is Call of Duty. Those two games have two different feels, and I don't really think one of them is going to kill the other. So when people asked me, is this going to kill Call of Duty? I immediately said no. But when they ask me, did you have fun? I'm gonna say, hell yeah, I did. The best analogy I can think of for this game is I love cheeseburgers. Cheeseburgers are cheeseburgers. And I love pizza. Pizza is pizza. Call of Duty is burgers and Battlefield is pizza. Sometimes I feel like having a burger. Sometimes I feel like having a pizza. And when you ask me, what do you think is better? Well, I don't know. It depends on the mood that day. I will say this, Battlefield 6 from the ground up feels like an actual battlefield. It's not trying to be something that it's not. It's not trying to be Call of Duty. Quite frankly, I don't think it's even trying to compete against Call of Duty. And if you are a Battlefield diehard, I think you're going to be happy with the way the game played out. So let's talk about why exactly it is good. When it comes to Call of Duty, for me personally, I get dopamine and I find enjoyment in playing that game with the movement and the snappiness. I like getting high kill games on Warzone and just getting as many kills as possible. While Battlefield is a little bit different. It's kind of the experience. But the one thing that I think that I enjoyed the most from Battlefield was its gunplay. The dopamine I got from shooting my gun and getting kills on this game brought me back to the OG Battlefield days where I would grab a sniper, go and play Rush, and just try to get across the map snipes. Just so you know, I am a Call of Duty diehard since day one, but there was a certain point where I didn't even play Call of Duty and I was only playing Battlefield. This was before I was streaming, before I was doing anything. This was before I was a content creator, before I was a YouTuber, before I was even streaming. For the majority of Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, I was grinding those games. And playing Battlefield 6 over the last week, it reminded me of why I decided to put down COD for that certain time frame and pick up Battlefield. So going back to the gunplay, this is the one thing that I really enjoyed. Guns had actual recoil. Let's look at Call of Duty. Call of Duty has insane amount of aim assist, insane amount of rotational aim assist, and every gun's had zero recoil. So there's not much dopamine to be had there from Call of Duty. Dopamine comes from other areas. For me, it's movement and just a fast place, always in your face gunplay. Trust me, I love the TikTok brain rot stuff too. But Battlefield gave me a new sense of dopamine. The guns had no visual recoil. They had actual real recoil, which means you didn't have the screen shaking across the map whenever you shoot. You also didn't have smoke in your face, not being able to see what you're shooting. And because of these things, every kill that you got actually felt satisfying. It felt like you deserved that kill. The aim assist wasn't incredibly broken, and neither was the rotational aim assist. Side note, I'm gonna make a prediction that keyboard and mouse players are going to love this game. There was something about having to put my pride aside as a Call of Duty main player, knowing that the game practically aims for me, and then having to come and play Battlefield and having to actually shoot my gun. To me, at least, that was super rewarding. And every kill that I got felt that much more satisfying. There's a beta this weekend that is actually free to play, so if you guys want to play it, go ahead and check it out yourself and see if you guys feel the same way. One thing that I actually cannot believe is actually happening is Battlefield is not blocking their beta by pre-orders. If you're in the Battlefield community or even in the FPS community, you've seen that across all social media, everybody has been saying no pre-orders. Nobody pre-order until we actually play the game. And it seems to me like Battlefield is betting on itself because they said, all right, don't pre-order. Here's the beta. You don't even have to pre-order to play this beta. We're going to let our game speak for itself, which I do think a lot more games should do. For those of you that don't have the dates, August 7th through 8th is the early access beta. This you can get by watching creators, or if you watch any of the creators last week. Then the actual beta is August 9th through the 10th. And then there's also weekend 2, which is August 14th through the 17th. For the beta, it's going to consist of 4 maps. The first map is Empire State. As you guys know, this is going to be in Brooklyn. This next map is Iberian Offensive. Hope I pronounced that right. I believe we played this one in the beta, and this was probably my favorite map in Squad Deathmatch. Liberation Peak, which was kind of like a rundown neighborhood. And then lastly, Siege of Cairo. This one has a bunch of buildings and a lot of room for destruction. I like this one a lot too. So going back to my thoughts, another thing that I really enjoyed was the sound design. I'm trying my best not to compare it to COD, but I'm going to do it anyways, and things kind of just feel very cluttered. With Battlefield, I was pleasantly surprised to say that I actually felt so immersed in that game and I could actually hear footsteps. Huge shout out to whoever was in charge of the audio because the audio was actually incredibly good. Overall, I had a really good time playing this game. If it comes to just multiplayer, I've never really been a multiplayer guy. When Black Ops 6 or any other Black Ops 7 comes out, I will play the multiplayer, but only until the Warzone comes out. So given that I really did enjoy Battlefield 6, I would say that's pretty good because I don't normally enjoy multiplayers anymore. What other modes are coming? Because this is where Battlefield really starts to cook. They have 2 new modes coming, and let's go over the first one, which I genuinely think will be a game changer if what they're saying is correct. And this is called Portal. I want you to picture Portal like creative mode in Fortnite. From what we're hearing, you can literally make anything you want in Portal. This is a sandbox mode where you can change quite literally anything you want about the game. Yes, that means you can make your own maps. You can make your own rules. You can change literally quite whatever you want. One of the devs did a podcast and they said this: internally, we have play-tested game modes with custom scripting and AI improvements, so you're able to make your own custom UI and improve how the NPCs behave and perform. There's a whole host of tweakables and mutators, like the ability to do closed weapons, hardcore mode. What we're seeing is somebody in studio create a top-down 2D shooter or even a horde mode when you purchase guns from an MCOM. That means you can legitimately make a zombies mode if you wanted to in Battlefield. You can make a third-person shooter if you wanted to. From the looks of it, and I hope this is right, you can practically do whatever you want. In the trailer for this, they had footage of them making some type of like death run. Think about like only up style games. Quite literally, the possibilities are endless. We've seen this work on games like Roblox and Fortnite, so having a first-person shooter like Battlefield do something like this, that's pretty crazy. Honestly, if there's anything I'm excited for, it's that. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this, and I haven't talked about it just yet. I saved this for the last part, and that is Battle Royale. During the playtest, they teased this video. Oh, man. Now watch this, watch this. The storm coming to Battlefield Labs. For those of y'all that didn't know, that is pretty much their teaser into their Battle Royale that's coming. How exactly is this going to play out? Again, before anybody asks me, I don't know if this is going to be a Warzone killer, but at the very least, if us, the consumers, have 2 games to play that we can swap between, I'm all in. I've said this so many times before. Whether you like Call of Duty and you're a diehard Call of Duty fan, whether you like Battlefield and you're a diehard Battlefield player, you should want Battlefield to succeed because competition is good for the consumers, which is anybody watching this video. Both of these companies are going to go head to head and they're going to be forced to improve and make their games better, thus making a better experience for us. So I have a couple questions. How exactly is this going to play out? Will this be like Warzone, where you have loadouts and you get your loadout and then you play from there? Or will this be like PUBG and you have to find attachments on the floor? You got to upgrade your guns and it's kind of like the OGBR experience. Another thing, how will destruction affect this game? Let's put you in the scenario. You're in the end game. It's a 3v3 against an opposing team, but they're on top of a building and they have high ground. But you remember that there is destruction in this game. So you bring out an RPG, you bust the pillars underneath them, and the whole building comes crumbling down. That's something that we really don't see in a lot of battle royales. Another thing, we saw tanks in that teaser trailer. How will those tanks be implemented into the game? And how overpowered will they be? Will you be able to just land on a tank or land on a jet? Or will you have to do some type of contracts or some type of missions to go and unlock these things? Overall, I'm really excited for Battlefield's Battle Royale. I do think it's going to play slower than Warzone, which is perfectly fine. And I hope it has its own identity and it doesn't try to be Warzone. But where I get the most excited here is if Portal is coming to Battle Royale, that opens up the possibilities for so many things. Imagine your favorite content creator makes their own map and they can have community games. Imagine big companies like Nike, Adidas, all want to make their own maps for the community and get into gaming. They can now hire somebody to create a map for them and have a whole entire map dedicated to Nike, Adidas. Now let's take it to a smaller scale. Think about you and your friends. What if you guys wanted to do a pistols only Battle Royale match? You now can. In theory, at least I hope. What if you guys wanted a one-shot, one-kill mode? You can now create that if you wanted to. I really hope that Portal is as good in practice as it looks like on paper, because I promise you, I would try and make as many modes as possible and try to have as much fun on this as I can. Now, before I give my final thoughts, we do have one final leak. Tom Edison, who's known to know a lot of info, somebody asked him, got a game mode question. VR was announced and we already knew about campaign and multiplayer. Bert Peanut, the GOAT, slipped up last night and said he was excited for the 2 other modes coming. I'm assuming one was BR. Are we getting another mode? And Tom replied, said Battle Royale and Gauntlet, which is the competitive competitive mode. Now, if you know me, I read this and I instantly mushroom stamped my desk. If there's going to be some type of competitive mode for Battle Royale, you can count me in. Especially with the way that World Series of Warzone has been treating their players this year, I think this is the perfect opportunity for Battlefield to come in and fill a void where a lot of people are wanting. I'm hoping that we can get more info on this gauntlet mode soon because I'm definitely invested. So my overall thoughts, I'm going to start off by saying this. I don't think there's ever going to be a point where I stop playing Call of Duty or Warzone in general. Call of Duty and Warzone have been in my life since forever. It's been the game that I played my entire life, and I genuinely love the game. Yes, it pisses me off. Yes, it treats me like shit sometimes. It's what I always come back to. I guess it's what feels safe. But there was a time in my life where I chose Battlefield over Call of Duty. And again, that was during Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. Battlefield 6 heavily reminds me of those games. I really am praying, I'm hoping that Battlefield 6 succeeds. I'm hoping that their BR succeeds. I'm hoping that their competitive succeeds. Because like I said before, if Battlefield succeeds, that forces Call of Duty to have to compete and have to get better. I don't think I'll ever switch 100% to Battlefield, but if I can go 50-50 between Battlefield and Call of Duty, or 60-40, 70-30, if everybody watching this, if you're a diehard Call of Duty fan, if you can have multiple games to play that make you happy, well, then everybody wins. If you are strictly a Battlefield lover, then you win because Battlefield is just forced to continue to get better and better. And same thing when it comes to Call of Duty. I'm gonna end by saying this. At the end of the day, play whatever you want. If a game gives you enjoyment, if it gives you dopamine, and for maybe a couple seconds of your life, forget about the stuff that you're going through in the real world, well, that's kind of what games are for. It doesn't matter whether that's Call of Duty or Battlefield. Right now, I think we all just want a good game to sink our teeth into because we haven't really had that in the last couple of years. So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited for Battlefield, or is it not really your style?